Good morning, second grade. Today we are going to be adding details to our mask by using collage. Collage happens when we cut and glue paper to create our artwork rather than drawing or coloring it. Last time we were here, we talked about African masks, and we talked about how these masks displayed symmetry, meaning the left side and the right side, if you folded them up, they would match. So through the middle of our mask is kind of an invisible line, right there. This is the line of symmetry. The line of symmetry is an imaginary line that divides a symmetrical object in half. So we can see that whatever happens on the left side also happens on the right side. Now the line of symmetry is going to help me as I work on creating my mask. One of the rules is when we look at this line right here, we can see if something is on the left or right side that there are two of them. So if there's an eye on the left side of the line of symmetry, there is a matching eye on the right side. Okay? So I've got these two polka dots on the left side of the line of symmetry, so these two polka dots match it on the right. Now, when something falls in the middle or on the line of symmetry, there is only one item. So for example, my nose right here. This is the left side of my nose and the right side of my nose, but because it's on the line of symmetry, there's only one. Okay? I wouldn't need two noses, right? But I do need to make sure the left and the right side match. So there are a few collage tricks that we're going to learn to create both things that fall on the line of symmetry and when something does not fall on the line of symmetry. I'm going to move this out of the way. Last week, you created a mask shape that is symmetrical. We created this by having our paper folded in half and cutting out a single shape so that when we open it, both sides are equal. Now, because we folded it in half, we have a line of symmetry already on our mask. So the fold line right there, that is your line of symmetry. You're going to have a helper paper that has lots of different examples of eyes, nose, mouths that you can do. You do not have to do only these. These are just for ideas. What we're also going to have is a big bucket of scrap paper. We need to make sure our hands are clean and sanitized before we start looking for paper. But we're going to start going through the scrap paper basket and picking the colors that we like. So let's say I'm going to start with my eyes. I'm going to pick a color I like, and it doesn't have to be like this paper's torn. It doesn't matter. Okay? So we're going to be saving all of our paper because when we do collage, we can use all sorts of different bits and sizes and pieces and scraps of paper. So I just need a piece of paper. Move this out of the way. So let's say I want to start working on an eye. Well, I know that I'm going to need two, right? And I know that they're going to need to be symmetrical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have two pieces of the same color. Right now, I don't. I have one. I'm going to need to cut it in half to make two. Okay, I'm going to need two eyes. I'm going to have two pieces of paper. What I'm going to do, because I want them to be the same and I want my eyes to be symmetrical, I'm going to put one piece of paper on top of the other one, and I'm going to draw my eye here and cut it out all together. So then I'll have two eyes. So when we look at the eyes, first we're going to identify the shapes. These eyes have lots of different shapes in them. So I'm going to be cutting out lots of different pieces of paper to create an eye. So let's say I wanted to do this eye right here. Well, I can identify that this is a big oval shape right here. That whole shape is an oval. Okay, so I'm going to start with that. You're going to use a pencil to draw. I'm going to use this marker just so you can see. So I want to draw nice and big because I have a nice big face, so my eyes should match. So I've only drawn it on one piece of paper. I'm going to make sure that it is layered on top of the second piece of paper, and I'm going to cut them both out together. This way, they will match and be exactly the same or symmetrical. Right? So my eyes match. I would go ahead and glue those down, but you don't need me to show you how to do that. Okay, so looking at this eye again. I got the outside shape. Now I'm going to work on this shape right here. It's like a long, skinny oval, and I can pick a different color for that. Maybe I want that part to be blue. Now I'm going to make sure that I've got two pieces, and I might want, just so I know how big my other piece is, I may want to trace it on my paper. But that's not going to be what I'm cutting. I'm going to be cutting this smaller shape. So I have two pieces together, and I'm going to cut my next shape out. Okay. Then I can start to stick them on. Okay. It may not be exactly perfect, and that's okay. You're just going for close. Okay. So now I have that part of my eye, and then I would glue that down. Actually, this needs to flip so that it's symmetrical, so we'll do this. Might have to play around where you want your shapes. That's okay. Once you got it the way you like it and it's looking symmetrical, you'd glue it down. Okay? Now I've got one more shape in this eye. I have the circle part. Okay? I think I want to use black. I'm going to make two pieces, and I can free cut a circle. I don't need to draw it. If you want to draw it, you can. Okay, but since I cut two pieces out, they're symmetrical, they're the same, and then I would glue them on. Okay, so I've recreated this type of eye with my different colors of paper. So sometimes I'm going to be layering different pieces on top of each other, okay? I'm not going to draw anything on my mask. I'm going to be using all paper. Now, let's say I want to do a nose, but I know that my nose falls on the line of symmetry. Well, I'm not going to take two pieces of paper because I only want one nose. What we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing that we did for our mask. So instead of me taking two pieces of paper, I will fold my piece of paper, and it doesn't matter if it's perfectly even or what. Okay, I'm just going to fold it, and I'm going to draw one half of the nose on the fold line. So maybe I'll do that. So then I know that when I cut it out, and I'm on the fold just like I did when I cut my face out. Right. So then I open it up, and I've got a nose, and that's going to go on my line of symmetry. I'm going to keep going and adding more and more to my monster, or my mask. Not my monster. We're not making monsters. Our mask. You're going to make sure that you have eyes, nose, and mouth, and then you need at least 3 other details to add decorations or patterns or anything like that to your mask. So once I've got everything cut and glued down, I've got eyes, nose, mouth, and three, I actually have a couple more extra details, but at least three, 1, 2, 3 extra details. Remember, you can always put more paper on top of paper you've already glued. This makes it more interesting. And like I added teeth down here. You can be as creative as possible. What you have to do is you have to follow the rule of if it falls on the line of symmetry, you have to fold it in half and cut on the fold so that the sides match. If it's on the left or right side of the face, you layer 2 papers on top of each other so that you're cutting out the same shape twice. Okay, and that's how you create a symmetrical mask inspired by the African masks we learned about.